Shri Sai Ram. Dear students, today we are going to deal with the chapter Sorting Materials into Groups of 6th class State Syllabus. Let us move to the content to know more about this. Dear students, we have to understand what do you mean by sorting. Sorting means systematic arrangement of materials into groups. Whenever we go to a shop, you might be seeing different items laying in different uh, arrangements. So they are called systematic arrangements. For example, if you see all different kinds of soaps will be arranged together at one place. Similarly, all kinds of biscuits will be arranged together at one place. Similarly, all kinds of notebooks and textbooks will be arranged together at one place. So the main advantage of arranging these objects together is that it becomes easy to locate particular object in the shop. For example, whenever we go to a shop, if we want particular item, shopkeeper will go and bring that item easily without any confusion. Why means they have arranged it in orderly manner. That is called as sorting. Therefore, sorting is nothing but systematic arrangement where we can identify the object very clearly without confusion. What will happen if we mix the objects together? So, if we mix the objects together, it will not be easy to find out the object. If you want to locate any object in a shop, it will not be easy if it is arranged in a random manner. So this is about a basic definition of sorting or a basic idea of sorting. Now next, let us move to the next slide to understand what do you mean by an object and what do you mean by a material. Because when I was dealing with sorting, I used object and material at different places. Dear students, now we have to understand what do you mean by object and what do you mean by material. An object is nothing but which can be seen and touched. For example, I can see the blackboard and I can touch it. Even if I can see my shirt and I can touch it. Therefore, the thing which can be seen and touched is called as object. On the other hand, material is nothing but the matter from which an object is made. That is called material. For example, bottle is made up of plastic. Here plastic is a matter and bottle is an object. Chair is made up of wood. Here chair is an object and wood is matter. What do you mean by matter? Matter is nothing but which occupies space. It will have some weight. With that weight, it will occupy some space. The board will occupy some space in the classroom. The shirt that we wear will occupy some space on your shirt. Okay. So therefore, that is called as matter. All the objects in the universe are made up of different materials such as iron, wood, plastic. There are several objects around us. We can take for example clothes, chair, bullock cart, stone, water, toys and cooking utensils. Cooking utensil means the utensil that is used for cooking. May take cooker or we may take boiler, for example. Even we can see the objects that are round in shape. So they are nothing but lemon, orange, apple, football, cricket ball. These are the objects that are present in a round shape. And we see the objects that are made up of plastic, such as buckets, pipes, lunch boxes, water containers, toys, tumblers, etc. Therefore, let us do a simple activity. Let us do a simple activity to understand different kind of objects. And we have to understand that, as already I told you, objects are made up of different materials. With this activity, we can easily understand how objects are made up of different materials. Collect as many as objects possible from your house or outside or near your classroom. Collect objects such as chalk, pencil, rubber, duster, hammer, nail, salt, potato, etc. Now what we will do is separate these objects that we have collected into two groups. One group should be made up of paper or wood, and the other group should be made up of other than wood or paper. By this simple activity, you can understand that objects are not only made up of wood or paper, but are made up of different materials. Even from a simple table, as you are seeing on the slide, from this simple table, I have taken chair made up of wood, metal, plastic. Even you can take clothes made up of cotton, wool, silk, nylon. Even you can take utensils. Utensils in the sense it may be of any type. It may be for cooking purpose or for any purpose. If you take utensils, they are made up of iron, copper, silver, etc. If you take shoes, shoes are made up of leather, rubber and plastic. From this table also, it is clear that objects are made up of different materials. So from these table, and we have to observe that objects are made up of different materials. Now let us move to the properties of materials, because every human being will have different characters like shape, size or color. In the same way, materials will also be having some properties. Let us learn the properties. So there are basically four properties. We can classify the properties of materials in four types. Number one is hardness, and number two is appearance, number three is transparency, number four is solubility. Let us understand what do you mean by the first property, hardness, in detail. Hardness means when you press the different materials in hand, it is easy to find out that some materials are difficult to bend or difficult to compress or difficult to cut. For example, if you take iron, iron is difficult to compress or difficult to cut or difficult to bend because iron is a hard material. On the other hand, if you take sponge, when you take sponge between our hands, it is compressed into small size because it is a soft material. On the other hand, if you take cotton, cotton is also soft, we can compress it into small size. Therefore, materials which cannot be pressed easily are called hard materials, while those easy to press are called soft materials. Example for hard material is iron, For soft material is cotton as well as sponge. We can take different examples. Not only these, there are different examples. For our convenience purpose, we have taken these examples. Let us move to the another property called appearance. Whenever you compare two human beings, we will be having different characters. One will be different from each other in case of knowledge or intellectuality. In the same way, if you take materials are different from each other. For example, gold, if you take, it has shiny appearance. In science, that shiny appearance we call it as luster, Lustre. Luster is nothing but shining nature. So, but not all materials will be shining. Suppose if you take wood has a dull appearance, it doesn't show any luster or it doesn't show any shining nature. That is why it is dull in appearance. On the other hand, if you take metals like gold, silver, copper and aluminium, they will shine and they will show luster property. But some metals often lose their shiningness and they will become dull. For example, if you take iron when it is exposed to air or moisture, automatically what will happen? It will lose its shine and have dull appearance. That is called as rusting of iron. Even if you take copper vessels, they won't rust but they will lose their shine. What we have to do is, we have to apply lemon. So by rubbing with lemon or with sandpaper, you can easily obtain shining again. So, and there are objects made of metals and diamonds. They also show shiny appearance. For example, stainless steel spoon has shiny appearance, and glass bowl made up of crystal, different type of crystals, it is made up of shiny appearance, or it has shiny appearance. Next, if we go to other property, after knowing these two properties, hardness and appearance, the most important property is transparency. You might be heard this term often. So transparency means the materials which can be seen very clearly, we call it as transparent materials. So transparent means without any shellfish nature. Normally in human beings also we can tell. So in the same way, materials which can be seen clearly are called as transparent materials. Glass is an example, air is an example, water is an example, groundnut oil is an example for transparent materials. We can see very clearly through the transparent materials, because if you see any material through glass, we can easily see it clearly because glass is transparent material. If we see burning flame of a candle through a glass, we can see the candle and its flame very clarity because glass is a transparent material. Even if you go to the swimming pool filled with water, with clear water, that is also transparent because we can see the objects under it very clearly. Even when you go to the shop, the shopkeeper will keep the sweets, biscuits and chocolates in transparent container. You might have observed many times. You are able to identify it very clearly because that is a transparent container. Automatically, we can easily see the different objects. So that customer will identify or see it very easily. On the other hand, there are some materials we cannot see at all. We can't see anything in that. Such materials we call it as opaque materials. Examples are cardboard, wood and metal. You can take rock as well as plastic as a best example for opaque material. We cannot see anything behind a wall. Why we are not able to see? Because it is a opaque material. It is made up of bricks. Brick is a opaque material. So therefore, this is called as opaque material. There are another sort of materials which we cannot see very clearly, but partially we can see. Such materials we call it as transparent materials. We can take ground glass of a bathroom and butter paper, or we call it as tracing paper, or paper filled with oil. They are called as semi-transparent materials or transparent materials. In the villages, you might have seen some people will be applying oil to the paper. So if you see any object through that paper, that is not clearly visible, partially visible. So now if you have look at a burning candle through ground glass, which is a transparent material, we can see only dim portion of the light, because it is a transparent material. We cannot neither see the candle or its flame. We can't see because it is a transparent material. It doesn't allow the light to pass through it. It won't allow the light to pass through it completely. Partially only it will allow. That is why we are not able to see it very clearly like transparent materials. And if you take windows of a bathroom, that is ground glass, normally we might be observing whenever we go to bathroom. So they are made of transparent materials where we cannot see the object even though outside light, that is sunlight, may be falling on that ground glass. But it is not able to see the object, or we are not able to see the object clearly. So therefore, the other property, the last and final property of the materials is solubility. Solubility means many of the substances will dissolve in water, while all of the substances are not dissolved completely. So that property we call it as solubility. Some are said to be soluble in water, while some of the substances are not said to be soluble in water. Examples which are soluble in water are sugar, we can take salt, we can take lemon juice, we can take milk, we can take. These are soluble substances. They are insoluble, means they won't dissolve. So coconut oil, groundnut oil, kerosene, petrol are the examples. Even gases dissolve in water. That is, oxygen and carbon dioxide are best examples. So oxygen dissolved in water, they are utilized by plants and animals for respiratory purpose. Because without the dissolved oxygen, plants and animals cannot survive which are living in the water. Similarly, carbon dioxide dissolved in water is used by the plants for the production of photosynthesis. Because without photosynthesis, there is no life. There is no preparation of food. So, if it is photosynthesis is required, we should have carbon dioxide. So that carbon dioxide dissolved by the water is used by the plants and animals for photosynthesis. Even there are gases that are not soluble in water. Nitrogen and methane are not soluble in water. Like this, we have different properties of materials. Not only hardness, not only solubility, not only transparency, there are different properties, and not only appearance. We have another property of materials, melting point, boiling point. But for our standard, these are all the materials. These are all the properties of materials, and these are the definitions. What do you mean by object and what do you mean by material? So this is about the chapter sorting of materials into groups. Thank you. Sai Ram.